It is now time for me to present to you your senior speaker, Alexandria Onuoha. Alex has been a force on the Bates campus for the past 4 years. She introduced herself to me before I think she had even finished moving into her first-year room in Page, and announced that she had big plans for her time at Bates. A psychology and dance double major, she completed theses in each. She worked at the Academic Resource Commons and served as an OIE Fellow and Admissions Senior Fellow. And she was Secretary and Event Coordinator for the Black Student Union and Community Liaison and President for Women of Color. Alex dove headfirst into the intellectual life of Bates and rose to every challenge it offered. She is community-minded to her core and made herself an indispensable part of campus life. She is inquisitive and intrepid, eager and ambitious. In the fall, she will begin a PhD program in applied developmental psychology at Suffolk University. From there, she'll go wherever she sets her mind to go. Of this, I have no doubt. Her talk is titled, "Stay Strong and Walk Like You've Got Some Sense." Ladies and gentlemen, your classmate and friend, Alex Onuoha.
Welcome faculty, staff, family, and of course the illustrious class of 2020. This is not how we imagine our commencement to be, but we are here, we made it. I want all of us to remain optimistic despite the uncertainty and devastation. It's okay to feel these emotions, but we have done important work throughout our 4 years that we must celebrate. We are iconic and our story is iconic. In her memoir, Becoming, Michelle Obama reminds us of the power of stories. She states, even when it's not pretty or perfect, even when it's more real than you want it to be, your story is what you have, what you will always have. It is something to own. Today, I share a story of a powerful woman with you and what can be learned. She has a warm caramel skin tone that glistens in the sun, and she speaks with conviction like a pastor giving a sermon. Her laugh is warm and hearty. The last of 12 children, she came from the beautiful island of Jamaica to the United States, looking for ways to expand her dreams. She started community college to pursue business management. Surprisingly, she had a beautiful baby girl before she finished. Over time, she became interested in cosmetics, and for 15 years, she managed one of the largest beauty supply stores in Cambridge, Massachusetts. When she was let go, it was tough for both her and her daughter. She never lost faith. She kept providing for her daughter, going back to school, getting a certificate in medical administration, working part-time. She never stopped when an obstacle confronted her. After gaining a medical administration certificate, she struggled until she went back to what she knows best and where she thrives. Working in sales, making everyone she interacts with feel special because of her spirit and her smile. That powerful woman is my single mother, Vanette Gale. She instilled in me the values of consistency, activism, initiative, and warmth. I got to exercise these values here at Bates College. During my 4 years, I also got to witness my lovely class embody these values. This is why Bates has become my second home. Growing up and attending a high school with mostly Black and Latinx students, I learned both to value my identity and dislike what was expected of me as a Black woman. Like my mother, I wanted to challenge stereotypes. While the college process was unfamiliar, I knew that I wanted rigorous academics and to build relationships across difference. Most importantly, I wanted an institution that was going to provide me with the tools to be a leader who makes positive change. When I visited, I knew that Bates was the place. Move-in day quickly approached. As I was walking in the serene, grassy area of the quad, my mother hugged me for a long time, and she asked, "You sure about this?" She asked that question because she was not sure if I was going to fit in or be comfortable at a predominantly white institution. But she underestimated her own parenting. When, As a Black woman, there were spaces where I felt cold and discouraged. Like my mother, I kept faith. I began to highlight Black women in academic, performative, and social spaces. Through the support of the psychology department at Bates, I was able to use research as a form of activism for marginalized groups. Because I lingered around supportive faculty and staff, I changed the cold narrative. Changing a narrative from cold to warm is what we as a class are currently doing because we are consistent, active, and warm. Consistency. Whenever I entered the academic resource commons, I always stopped at the desk to clock in for my shift. Immediately, I saw many of you working diligently. The cups of chai, the deep sighs, and the intense look on faces that created an atmosphere of scholarship and thinking. Activism and initiative. The seniors who were a part of the Black Student Union created the first social justice theme house, a more inclusive space. Women of color and other affinity groups have run events and programs even during this peculiar time to ensure that all identities are welcome. The laughs and smiles when a project and an event has been successful is one of the most impactful interactions I got to witness. Warmth. Dean Reese, with his big smile, the pep in his step, was so warm and welcoming to all of us. Like him, the students of color on this campus create warmth by showing up and showing out. Throughout these 4 years, I felt the most warmth being around you all, learning about your life experiences and what led you to Bates. On March 13th, when we received an email that we had to leave, I was in the library and saw faces drop and turn cold. I saw groups of friends tearfully hug and embrace one another. It was upsetting. Nevertheless, once we all got settled, our story quickly changed from something cold to warm. Students organized events virtually, offered support for academics, and hosted Zoom calls to celebrate thesis completions. Even when we are far and wide from one another, our class will forever be connected. Of course, we're upset. We were angry, frustrated, but we were also loving. Like Michelle Obama states, even when it's not perfect or pretty, your story is what you have, what you will always have. Our story as a class is not perfect, but it's real. For students who have been waiting for this moment to be celebrated, especially for students of color, for first-generation students, for international students, it's more than a walk. It's a moment of victory. We may not have been able to walk across the stage and then hug our families, but we do get to walk with a Bates degree and a holistic perspective on academics and on life. We get to walk towards the next chapter of our lives as writers of our own story. We shape situations. Situations don't shape us. Class of 2020, we are the story writers. Our story is emotional, it's real, it's beautiful. We have shown strength and resilience in the face of this unprecedented situation. And the most vulnerable members of our class and those family members who have been deeply impacted, who are also a part of our story. Anytime I doubt myself, I remember my Jamaican mother telling me, stay strong and walk like you got some sense. So I encourage you all, when you walk into the next chapter of your life, stay strong and walk like you got some sense. Because your story is your power. Like the lyrical J. Cole would say, to appreciate the sun, you gotta know what rain feels like. If your story has some rain in it, own it and use it to make others feel the sun. Thank you, class of 2020. See you very soon. 2020, we did it.